right, I got the Zoom meeting. Hello, hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well, Jessica. Thanks for asking. How are y'all?
Good.
Excellent. Is John on by chance?
Not yet. He's not, no.
Not a worry. I'll wait for him to jump on. Introduce myself. I'm Luke. I'm working with PandaDoc here with a bunch of different Head Start agencies. So appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah.
Okay, Jessica, can you hear me? All right, excellent. Well, we got a lot of folks on here today. That is great. Very good. Okay, Luke, I am going to make you a co-host so that you can share.
It's a great honor, sir. Thank you much.
Oh, let's not go too far.
Thank y'all for having me on.
You bet. Happy to. We're still getting a few folks online, so we'll give it just a couple of more minutes. But other than that, we typically are very good at sticking to our hour-long timetable, sometimes a little shorter. So we'll give it a couple more minutes and get a few more directors online because I know they want to hear from you.
I appreciate that. And just for scheduling purposes, this should take about 20 to 30 minutes, if that's okay with everyone.
Perfect.
Excellent.
That'll be just fine.
Phone disconnected.
Okay, Luke, why don't we go ahead? We've got 22 or about 20 of our Head Start folks online. Why don't we go ahead and get started? Just to let everybody know, Luke and PandaDoc had contacted me a week or two ago. They have been speaking with Head Start programs around the country, particularly during COVID-19 and the use of new technologies for enrollment and recruitment, the signing of documents in a virtual world. They've got some tools that I know increasingly a lot of programs are using. So we thought it might be an interesting idea just to sort of share today what they've got. And Luke, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, John. Appreciate everybody jumping on today. And just want to let everybody know at any point, if you have a question, feel free to jump in and stop me. Happy to get those answered for y'all. But mind if I set up just a quick agenda for today's meeting there, John?
You go right ahead, Luke. The floor is yours.
Oh, thank you, sir. All right. Hopefully y'all can see my screen here.
Yep.
Excellent. All right. So what we're going to cover today, just so everybody's on the same page, is just our background working with various Head Start agencies and community action agencies throughout the country. And really how we've helped them is to allow them to send unlimited documents for e-signature. And some of the other challenges we've noticed they're facing is making sure no forms slip through the cracks. Sounds like there's a lot of manual follow-up that goes into this enrollment process. You probably never had to call or email or text parents to get them to send an application or form back. Never heard that one. But then from there, we'll give you a little bit of information on who is PandaDoc, cover the platform, and I'll open up the floor to a Q&A. Does that work well for you, Jessica and John?
You bet. Sounds just fine. Thanks.
Excellent. So just real quick, who's benefiting from PandaDoc today? Inside of Kentucky, we have Daniel Boone Community Action Agency, as well as a few others listed right here. But what's going on? What's the actual challenge we've heard that most of y'all are facing? It sounds like there's a lot of enrollment forms and applications that are being done on paper today. And I don't know about y'all, but I've heard from other agencies that due to COVID, it's much more difficult to meet with people and you can't meet with them in person anymore. And this means a few different things we found. You could be using snail mail to get applications turned around and filled out by hand, as well as we've heard of emails and PDFs and other methods of getting documents back. I'm curious, what happens if a page is missing in one of these applications, or it's half filled out? Jessica, do you deal with any of these today that are missing information?
I do not, but I am still new, so.
Okay, no worries. We've also found a couple other areas. Do y'all need to collect proof of income from families as well? John, that might be a good question for you.
Yeah, I think, typically through a recruitment process that they're going to be talking with families about those things and trying to document eligibilities.
Absolutely. And you want to make sure that all the families who are able to receive assistance are eligible. I know the U.S. Department of Head Start did a report on that last year and did a big old audit. So we want to make sure we stay in compliance there. So just keeping track of all these different forms, all the paperwork going back and forth can certainly be a challenge. And I'm sure none of these ever slip through the cracks on y'all. But we want to make sure that doesn't happen. So just curious, what if there was a better way to keep track of all these documents, make sure they're completely filled out and you have everything you need to finish the recruitment and enroll new families? Well, enter in PandaDoc. So just a quick bit of background on who PandaDoc is for y'all. Currently, we're the fastest growing e-signature provider in the world right now. In fact, we have over 20,000 customers worldwide. You'll see some big names like Konica Minolta, Chase, Hilton, TomTom using us. But from every Head Start agency I've spoken to, they couldn't care less about those brands. I'll let you know this. Just over the past 4 or 5 months here, I've personally onboarded and implemented over 50 different Head Start and community action agencies who are facing these same challenges. So just 2 more quick details here. I'll let you all know that a document's signed with PandaDoc every 7 seconds electronically. And I don't know if you know this name at all, but Microsoft actually just invested another $30 million into PandaDoc. About 2 or 3 weeks ago. And that's good news for our customers, and here's why. We're able to offer 24/7, 365 support. So anytime y'all have a question, day or night, we have 4 offices around the world with over 375 employees who'll be able to get that answered for you. Any questions on the background of PandaDoc or that piece? Excellent. Silence is golden. So just to get everybody oriented, what would happen and what has happened with other agencies after they've actually purchased and started to implement PandaDoc? Here's what that process looks like. So we'll actually be able to help create your account. And what that means is we'll import the existing enrollment forms, applications, sign-in, sign-out sheets we've seen, as well as any other type of document that you all do via paper today. And we can configure workflows to make sure all these are filled out correctly and are routed to the right people inside the organization. Outside of that, we'll help enable any integrations, potentially with your website. But how long does it take to get started with PandaDoc? Well, on average for our customers, it takes 8 days to go from contract signed to fully up and running with content in the system, team trained, and a dedicated account manager to support you guys as you move forward. Any questions on that piece?
You know, Luke, I think something that might be interesting for folks to better understand is perhaps, have there been some specific examples or case studies as to how organizations that you've worked with previously, whether it's a community action or another Head Start, sort of what was the challenge they were facing? How did PandaDoc solve that problem? And then how does PandaDoc interface with the data systems that Head Start programs are already using, such as Child Plus? How does everything sort of seamlessly fit together to make people's lives easier?
Absolutely. And John, you're about 2 steps ahead of me. I love it. So just on that piece, the only other question I had before we dive into that is, would a solution like this need to be easy to use for parents? I assume so. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of G2 Crowd or Capterra, but what they are is they're third-party review sites online that take customer reviews and rank them. And PandaDoc was actually rated the easiest e-signature application, not only for sending documents, and I'll show you how, but also on a mobile interface. It's guided and was rated the easiest for signers to fill out. So that's the high level piece right there. Sorry.
Luke, this is Cindy Graves from Murray Head Start. I have a couple of questions. You're probably going to get to them at some point. But what kind of format, platform would our families receive documents to be signed? And then how does PandaDoc protect personally identifiable information?
2 excellent questions. Any others that I should be aware of? All right. So yeah, Cindy, just on protecting the information, because I assume this is highly confidential. It should be protected on each family.
Well, yeah, particularly if you're
Yeah.
talking about their income and child information for enrollment.
Excellent. And that actually ties right into this, which is the PandaDoc security portion of this, Cindy. Just so everybody knows, PandaDoc is fully HIPAA compliant, which takes care of any medical information that might need to go in about the families or the children. But this, I think you'll probably find more relevant, is PandaDoc is one of only 2 solutions in the world right now that has that FERPA level of compliance, which has been big for Head Start as well as schools using us for all their document needs, and all their information is protected and stored within the system and is fully FERPA compliant. I'm wondering if that answers your question, Cindy, or if I missed something.
That's a start. I just know, families are pretty leery of sharing that personal information. Plus, we have to protect the specifics about the child as we're having them fill out all of these enrollment forms.
Absolutely. Are all these forms filled out in person today, or how does that work for you, Cindy?
We have a combination of some online, but the online goes directly to us, to and from, so there's no third party sending back and forth, but then final signatures and all pretty much are done in person right now.
Okay. Yeah. Did COVID throw a wrench in that for you at all?
Yes. Yes, it
Okay.
did.
Okay. And John, just getting back to kind of the point of this call, as you mentioned, what's kind of the situation that we're seeing? And I think Cindy brought it up here quite well, is Head Start associations need to get these enrollment documents signed, as well as completed, and make sure they're secured. But due to COVID coming about, you're no longer able to meet with families in person, or it's very much limited. And correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yeah, that's true. It's certainly not from an association standpoint, but from an individual grantee and agency standpoint. Those are some things that Head Start programs would need to do. They'd need to do securely and privately. It would need to be ease of access, both for their staff as well as for parents.
Absolutely. And so that kind of rolls into the next part here, ease of access, just from a platform perspective. And I'll be honest, y'all probably didn't show up here today to see my slide deck or my pretty face. You probably want to see how the product works. Shall I dive into that?
Yep, that'd be great.
Excellent. Alrighty. Can you all see the dashboard there, John? Just kind of give me a thumbs up.
Yes, yes.
All right, excellent. Just to get y'all oriented, this would be the first thing you and your teams would see when you log into PandaDoc every day. And just from a high level, what this dashboard does is keeps track of every single document or application that y'all are working on. So just taking this blue folder, for example, what it does is it keeps track of every single document that's been sent out. So let's say a family, and they haven't even opened it yet. And we can keep track of that there. And once they actually fill out or start filling out an application, it would move into this purple folder. And when and only when it's fully completed, signed, and you collect all the relevant and necessary proof of incomes, IDs, and anything else you need to collect as part of this enrollment process, would those applications and forms actually move into this completed folder. And this can be broken down not just by team member or team, excuse me, but you can also break it down by individual people on your staff. Every week, every month, or year, and see exactly who's done what. Cindy or Jessica, I don't know if you all would use that at all.
Luke, my question would be, how user-friendly is it for the parents to use? And like when they have to sign the forms, is it just a click of one button and it signs all documents at the same time? Or do they have to go into each one individually?
That's a great question, Rhonda. Actually, do y'all help them fill out any of their forms today, or do you just send them kind of a blank copy?
they are assisted with it and got the form is gone over with them, and then they sign the required ones.
Excellent. And it sounds like all this is done via like a Zoom meeting or a phone call today, if you can't meet in person.
Since COVID, we have been doing it over the phone and then doing curbside as they come in and sign what's needed to be signed and getting that required income documentation.
Excellent. Excellent question, Amanda. And Rhonda, I think I can knock both of these out for you real quick. Would you like to see what the parents would actually see?
Yes, please.
All right, excellent. So let me pull this up real quick. And just so y'all know, this actually ties into why PandaDoc was rated the easiest to use for sending applications. What we'll be able to do is set these up with you ahead of time. So to actually create an individual enrollment form for a parent, here's what's going to happen. Inside of PandaDoc, just remember this for your staffs: green means go. It's as simple as that. So if we're going to have the parent's email here, you're just going to be able to punch that in and hit green to save it. So Luke Ruffing at Gmail will be added into this document. And again, green means go to create a version of it. From there, y'all will be able to collect signatures, dates, as well as the required proof of income documents and IDs. But Rhonda, correct me if I'm wrong here. It sounds like you help walk them through the application.
Some of them. I guess the reason I'm asking is my son is currently getting a job with the federal government and all of their documents are online. And some of them were not very user-friendly. But they did
Really?
at the end, like he could click one button and that signed all the required forms. So that was user-friendly, but then some of the forms was not.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And actually let me know if this is user-friendly enough for y'all, but if you wanted to help them fill out pieces of this document and these forms, you certainly can. So you can get their first name, last name, social security number, etc. And it's all secured in here with masked information that ties into our security. But to send this out, all we're going to do is click this paper airplane, hit green again to save, and green to send. Let me know if y'all have any questions on the sending process, but I think you want to see what the parents see. Excellent. Give me 1 second here. And I'm not in our fancy boardroom here. As you can tell, it's probably a fake background. I'm in our laundry room. It's the way it goes. But this is the email that just came onto the phone of the parent. And just so y'all know, this is entirely customizable. We can have your logo put in there. It'll be your face, the name of your agency. And all this is customizable. But again, we follow the same logic for parents. Green means go. So for you, Rhonda, they'll be able to open up the document and they can pinch and zoom and scroll through this in case they need to read over any of it. But there's a big old green button in the bottom corner here that says next. That'll take them immediately to the signature portion where it already has their name filled out, and they can tap this big old green button to sign it. And that signs out for the entire document packet or enrollment packet where you need to collect a signature. One tap, and it's accepted and signed. I'm wondering if that's easy enough for y'all's parents to use, or if I missed something there.
I'm not sure. Speaking for me and some of my parents, I'm a hands-on person, so I would need to play with it myself to see. I mean, it looks
Absolutely.
easy enough.
Yeah, I'd be happy to send you a sample in another meeting if you'd like, but just in real time, so y'all know, is actually, let me ask you a question, back up a step. Is it a challenge to actually keep track of all these different enrollment applications and forms today, or is that not really a problem for you guys?
This
I don't
is Cindy again. I don't know if that's really an issue, but I had another question, and somebody else can jump back into this. But once they're signed, then what's the retrieval process? Because we need that data in other database systems that we use.
Okay. And y'all are using Child Plus as well as some other systems, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So what this looks like once it's completed is these documents will fall back down into your main account here. And you'll also get an email copy of the fully signed document as well, once that comes back. And so for the retrieval process, do you upload individual forms into Child Plus today, or how does that all work for you today, Rhonda? Just want to make sure I'm not off base.
We do upload them into Child Plus.
Okay, excellent. Because what we've seen working with other agencies is they're able to take these completed forms. We'll just take this one for example. This one's fully filled out, signed, has all the relevant information there. And then they're able to download a copy of it and simply upload that completed form back into Child Plus. And that covers the signature portion, as well as collecting all the IDs and proof of incomes that y'all need.
So when they put their name and birthday and all that on that first initial input, does that transfer to all forms that ask for that same information? Or do they have to list that on each individual form?
They would have to list that on each individual form.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. And so that's the high level overview of what it looks like to use the system, send out applications and enrollment forms, as well as for parents to sign these and complete them. I have a whole bunch of other bells and whistles here, but is there anything else y'all would like to see in the system today?
Yeah, did I miss it earlier? The interaction between this system and Child Plus, how people can input and retrieve. You got that right, or did we skip over that?
I believe so, John, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but what would happen is y'all would be able to download a copy of these forms and upload those right into Child Plus on that family profile.
So there isn't necessarily a direct integration between the two. Rather, you're using one tool, gathering the information, saving it, and then you're going to download it and upload it to your other system, correct?
That's exactly right, sir. Yep. And this is used hand in hand alongside Child Plus to help this process moves faster and make sure nobody's missed. The only other question I had, maybe this is relevant, is do y'all keep the applications on your website at all? Cindy, do you have an application on your website?
We don't have enrollment applications on our website, no, because it's not just an open enrollment. It's an income-based eligibility. But one of my questions is, I've got the staff that are doing this across 8 different counties, and they don't, for confidentiality purposes, don't need to access each other's information. So, would that require separate accounts for every location, or are there tiers of access, or how would that work?
An excellent question. So there are a couple different things. One is if you're the admin or manager level of the account, and this ties into our permissions, you can see what the entire team is doing on this dashboard. So you know how everybody's doing. But for what we call a team member role, and that's what I am at PandaDoc, is I can only see my own documents. I can't access Olivia's. I can't see what Reed is doing. I can only see the applications and forms that I'm working on and nobody else's. I don't know if that would help at all.
So it sounds like in theory, the directors would have access to all of the different classrooms or all of their different areas. And then you could have each classroom has its own, and the only people that would have access to the full information is kind of at the director's level, right?
That's exactly right. And that's how we break it out with these different permissions. Actually, Amanda, I don't know if you work directly with the families or follow up with them. Is there a lot of back and forth just to get families enrolled today?
I'm actually the director of the Head Start Collaboration Office, so I'm kind of at the statewide level. So that may be a question for somebody else on the call.
Okay. I don't know if you guys ever run into that challenge at all. Right. Well, looks like we're about at 12:30 here. Don't want to take up too much of y'all's day. I'll leave you with just 2 other quick things, if that's all right. What we're able to do as part of PandaDoc is if there's an application that's sitting out there maybe for a week, 2 weeks, or if y'all have a deadline, like they have to get it in within 30 days of being issued an application or an enrollment form. And I talk to about 200 customers a month over here. My brain can't remember to follow up with everybody. It just doesn't work. Is what we can do is actually set up auto reminders on these documents. So every 3 days, every 7 days, you can have automatic reminders going out to make sure that nobody slips through the cracks on you. And if there is an expiration date, let's say this has to be in by November 30th, that can be configured on these applications. Warn the applicant 1 day before it expires. And let's say Luke Ruffin, because he's a serial offender, forgets to turn in his application. Sometimes it happens. It'll be caught in this red expired folder right here. So that way we know exactly who's signed up, who's missed their deadline, and we can give them one last call to see if they are interested in enrolling. or if this is something that just isn't a priority anymore. All righty. That's about all I have to show you all today. John, thanks so much for having me on. Is there anything else y'all would like to have me cover?
Anybody have any additional questions for Luke about the PandaDoc system or how it might work with your program? And I will also provide contact information for Luke after in case anyone wants to follow up with him. All right, Luke, thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Oh, absolutely, John. Thank you all for having me on. And I'll drop my information into the chat here. And it's luke.ruffing@pandoc.com. And here's my cell number if y'all have any further questions.
All right, very good.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank
Have a great rest of your day.
you. Thanks, you too.
All right, bye now.
Let's see here. Okay, gang. A couple of updates from us at the association. We still have not heard from the Region 4 Head Start Association regarding the awards. I know that we have several coming to Kentucky. As soon as we get information from them, we will let you know. We also have a new newsletter that is going to be coming out starting today. We're going to be doing that hopefully on a weekly basis, sharing information not only from our association, but also any information that Amanda wants to contribute from the collab office. Anything that we can share, we're more than happy to do, as well as information that we get from larger associations, NHSA, the Office of Head Start, anything like that. So hopefully you will see that later today. And if you've got any questions about it or any suggestions for it, please let us know. We're making good progress on our bylaws and governance committee. We had a meeting last week where we actually, I think, made it all the way through the document finally. And so the small working group that we have that is focused on that is going to be reviewing those track changes and adjustments. And we're going to be getting together again, I believe, on Monday, the 23rd, to go through those suggestions. Hopefully after that, we will be in a position where we will be able to get some sign off from that working group as to those suggestions. And then we'll have an opportunity to forward that to the remainder of the membership so that you all have a chance to spend some time with it. And then at the first part of next year, in our first board of directors meeting next year, we actually will have an opportunity to review and adopt those new bylaws. So it's sort of interesting. It's very exciting from my standpoint. Like I've mentioned before, we've gone through the strategic planning process. We're now at a place where I really think that the new bylaws and the suggested changes that the group have worked on are going to make a big difference, particularly in how we're engaging with members, not just the directors, but also with your staff all the way down the line, whether it's through committee work, the creation of what we're calling sections, which would be sort of groups of folks across the state in Head Start that are dealing with very similar areas, such as your education directors, such as your family nutrition, your family service managers, folks dealing with transportation. Really an opportunity for all of those folks to come together to talk shop in their particular areas. We're also taking a look at the officer structure. Sort of what we have right now is a little large and unwieldy and perhaps maybe a little bit outdated. So we're really looking at some new roles with the officers, as well as looking at how we can have more meetings virtually throughout the year. So I think you all are going to be excited to see that. I think it's really going to give us an opportunity, along with the new direction that we have within the association, to really embrace greater member participation and get folks more involved. Let's see. Lee has a question. Do y'all consider related field? Yes. Let's see. Lee, are you on? Can you ask your question?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I have a family service worker, and she has like 20 plus years of experience in Head Start as a teacher, and she does have her associates in early childhood. And I recently transferred her to a family service worker position, and I have asked several Head Start people at TTAS and my ECE specialist, kind of their opinion. And they had asked me to kind of poll the directors to kind of see what, if they have any experience with, this as far as being a related degree versus getting a family service worker credential.
It's kind of an open question to the group. I think Lee's looking for some
Yeah, I
some
just was kind of
guidance.
curious. I have my focus area 1 review the week of November 30th. And I know, they're going to ask, talk to me about some staff qualifications. And I just kind of wanted to have a little bit of guidance towards that before that happened. Or if I need to go ahead and quickly get them enrolled in, in some coursework, just so that I can prove, that they are enrolled.
Anybody want to weigh in on that?
I think that an associate's degree in ECE, it may qualify, but if I had someone who had transferred into a family service worker position, I would definitely enroll them in the family service credential immediately. And especially you need to look at the hire date, because after a specific hire date for that person, I think according to the performance standards, it has to be a bachelor's degree. So you may want to recheck that again. But like I said, I would go ahead and enroll them in that family service credential as soon as possible. Myself, that's what I would do.
Okay, thank you. That's really where I was leaning to. I just kind of panicked with this focus area 1 review coming up. Do you know of who offers that credential? Because I've also been searching for that as well, and I haven't had much luck.
I do know that Martina Rowe from Gateway is an instructor, and she has done a couple classes for us at Middle Kentucky. So you may want to contact her and see if she has another class coming up soon.
Okay. I will reach out to her. Thank you so much.
You're
Leah,
welcome.
this is Shonda at Northeast. We also do the classes here. We got one going right now, but we're in our fifth week.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure the performance standards tell you, as long as they are enrolled, that it fulfills that educational requirement. They just have 18 months to obtain it.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. When I went back and reread it, I thought they had 18 months. So I'm good there.
But if you would like to get together or something and discuss the possibility of doing an FD class, John, if there's enough interest and stuff, right now they're letting us do them virtual and stuff. So I would be willing to assist with that.
Great. So let me be in contact with you and Martina, and we can maybe share some information as to opportunities that may be coming up with folks. All right, Lee, does that get you taken care of, at least for the moment?
Thank you.
Great. Let me turn it to Amanda to see if she has any updates or is looking for any information, either to and from the Head Start Collab office. Amanda?
Hi, thanks. Thanks, everybody. I hope everyone is enjoying these sunny days that we're having right now. I know I am. So hopefully you guys saw the email that I sent out, I think on Thursday or Friday. There are a couple of national studies that we're being requested to ask folks to participate in. The first one is an infant toddler competency study. That one is done through ACF, their Office of Planning, Research, and Evaluation. I don't have a lot of information on how long it takes or any of that kind of stuff, but it is for all early childhood care and education programs, including higher education and all of those. So if you can share that throughout your network so that they can get some good information about Kentucky on that, that would be wonderful.
And Amanda, I actually dropped both of those into the newsletter for this week.
Oh,
So
great. Perfect.
Those are both in there to remind people.
Perfect.
The other one is by, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, I think it's called Noprene, but it's the Nutrition and Obesity Network Policy Research and Evaluation. And I actually spoke with one of the leaders of that study this morning to learn a little bit more about what they're looking to do. The idea originally started at a Head Start in Ohio, and what they're trying to do is determine how Head Starts are tracking and measuring height and weight of children and how they're communicating that with the parents, with the idea of that being complete by I believe she said it was the 24th is when the survey is going to go down. And once they do that analysis, start taking a look and talking to folks about possibly doing some professional development modules around those issues in Head Starts. And I mentioned to her that, you know, Kentucky, some of our health outcomes are you know, not so great. So I was really going to encourage folks to participate in that. She said that the average for that particular survey is only about 10 minutes. And if you complete it, you also have the ability to get a $100 gift certificate. I forget from where. So if you guys can talk to your health managers about possibly doing that, it shouldn't take up too much time. And there is going to be a possibility for us to participate in some of those further conversations once the survey is complete. So, and they're going to send over the results once they get that done. So I'm excited to see those. I know that some folks have been participating in that All In initiative that we've been working on with the Cabinet for Health and Family Services. November is Adoption Month. So if you guys get a few minutes, have your folks share some of those resources on your social media pages and that sort of thing, that would be absolutely fantastic. If you need those again, reach out and let me know. I did get them from the folks over at Protection and Permanency again last week. So I've got it pretty handy if you need those. Another one is that the ECAC meeting is going to be on November 19th from 1 to 3. So if you guys have some time and want to join those are public meetings. So if you want to come and learn about some of the stuff that's happening with ECE on kind of the statewide level, I definitely encourage that. There's going to be some really exciting stuff that we talk about at that meeting. And then the last thing that I have on my list is I did receive some information on Friday from Region 4 that are not Region 4, but the OHS is that the annual report for my office is going to be due by the end of January. And there are going to be some COVID questions. So I might need to reach out to you guys to help answer some of those questions on how your programs are dealing with COVID. So just to kind of prep you guys for that. I think that's it for me, John. Lots of stuff. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, we are at about 12:45. So I want to ask the group, are there any other comments, questions, concerns, suggestions? Now's the time to sort of have an open floor. Okay, I'm not seeing any. So I want to thank everybody for joining us this week. I hope you found it to be useful. I'll be sending out information about next Monday's meeting either later today or tomorrow. And we look forward to reconvening with you then. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
Everybody.